So guys, I hope you are all doing really well. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kai Bax. I own a multi-six-figure e-commerce agency, and I also have this YouTube channel where I help people start and grow to six and multi-six figures with their e-commerce agency. Now in this video guys, what I want to be covering is how, myself and the team at Bax Consulting, how Bax Consulting literally generates over $50,000 per month, okay, for some of our e-commerce clients, right? And so in this video, as I say, I wanna walk you through kind of almost step by step exactly our approach that we take when we bring on a new client. And obviously that client then goes on to make, as I say, over 50,000 per month, how we go about doing that. Now, as always guys, if you find value in the video, make sure you go ahead, subscribe to the channel and like the video as well. And also leave your comments down below and let me know if you have either any questions or just what your general thoughts were about this video. So look, I'm not gonna waste your time. It may be kind of a longer video, but it's gonna be value packed. So with that being said, let's dive straight into it. So as I say, how we generate $50,000 plus per month for our e-commerce clients. So the paid traffic median. So I know you're probably thinking, like, how do I physically do it? Like, what am I doing? What am I, running or whatever? The paid traffic median, as I say. So what we kind of, as I go on to say there, the paid traffic median that we use is Facebook ads, okay? And so the paid traffic median that Bax Consulting specializes in is Facebook ads, which naturally encompasses Instagram ads as well, okay? So Facebook ads kind of encompasses a bunch of different medians, and then obviously the two main ones are Facebook and Instagram ads. Now, if you work with e-commerce brands / info product brands, then barring Google ads, this should be your only focus, okay? So if you work with Ecomm or info product brands, then you shouldn't be focusing on anything else other than Facebook ads to get, if you want to try and get the best results for your clients or yourself, if you personally own an Ecomm or info product brand, you shouldn't be focusing on anything else other than Facebook ads, obviously, as I say, barring Google ads, okay? So trust me, this is where you will see the biggest returns for your clients, which at the end of the day is the single most important factor to a successful agency, okay? Now, the power of Facebook ads. Currently at the time of recording this, for our best performing client, we are generating them over 7 figures just from our services, all right? So the services that Bax Consulting provides, as I say, is Instagram and Facebook ads and really just paid traffic as a whole online. And for our best performing client right now, okay, we are generating them over 7 figures per year directly from what we're doing for them on their behalf, right? Directly from the services that we are implementing for them, the paid traffic that we're, producing for them, that is converting in over 7 figures for that specific client, okay? So as I go on to say that, I think it's safe to say that when done right, Facebook ads are very powerful for e-commerce and info product brands. And just to kind of show you, like, I know probably some of you out there probably super skeptical, probably thinking, who the hell is this guy? No way he's generating 7 figures. Well, this is a 7-figure client of ours, okay? I literally took these screenshots right before recording this video. So this is literally real time. It's a real 7-figure client, it's a real business. Okay, so on the left there, you can see last month, 1st of February to the 29th of February, 2020. Okay, and again, that's last month at the point of recording this. We generated them basically $100,000 on the dot from around 7,000 ad spend. And obviously that resulted in a 14.35 ROAS, so pretty good results there. And then this month, which is March, I'm literally recording this video on the 31st of March. So last day of March, you guys will see it on the start of April, okay? But as I say, for this month, okay, 1st of March 2020 to the 31st of March, we have still, and obviously given what's going on in the world right now, again, at the point of recording this, we still brought them in over $95,000 in, purchase conversion value. I mean, it's pretty crazy for me to say that. Again, given what's going on in the world right now, we still brought them in over $95,000 in purchase conversion value from around $8,000 spend, okay? And as I say, that again resulted in a 12.2 ROAS. So you can see, first things first, Bax Consulting knows a thing or two, we know a thing or two about running ads and getting good results. And also you can just see that Facebook ads, Instagram ads are just honestly the best way, one of, if not the best way to, scale e-com and info product brands, okay? So, you guys know me, you know, if you've watched this channel for any length of time, you've seen any of my content or anything like that, you know I'm not about that like kind of theoretical, you know, stuff that like, you know, people just talk about, but it's like not practical, you know, you can't implement anything of it, right? You know I'm not about that. So as I've got here, I wanna go through the physical process of delivering unmatched results, right? For me, I'd say these results are pretty unmatched, right? They're quite high level, okay? Again, in my opinion, you may think differently, but I personally think that a 14.3 ROAS on 7,000 ad spend and a 12.2 ROAS on a 8,000 ad spend is pretty high level. And so, as I say, I wanna walk you through the physical process of delivering unmatched results for your ecom or info product clients, okay? So, first things first, ideal customer, guys. This is so important, okay? Figure out who the ideal customer is, okay? It is mandatory that you know exactly who the ideal customer is on Facebook when running ads, okay? The person who knows who your client's ideal customer is, okay? Basically, the only person who knows who your client's ideal customer is your client, okay? It's very basic, but you need to understand that the person who knows your client's ideal customer, your client's ideal audience the best is the client themselves. So you need to get them to relay exactly who that is to you, okay? So you have an exact idea when going into the Facebook platform. And the reason I say, you know, an ideal customer, knowing exactly who your ideal customer is, the reason I say it's so important is because, you know, I always kind of use the analogy, the fact that, you know, when you go to the airport, you know exactly what plane you need to get on because that plane is going to take you to the destination that you want to get to. You know exactly what you're doing. The same concept applies in the Facebook ads platform. If you go into the Facebook ads platform and you don't know where you're going, you don't know, you know, again, using the analogy of the airport, if you go to the airport and you don't know where you're going, you don't know what destination you're going, you want to get to or anything like that, then you don't know what to do. What flight do you get on? Which terminal do you go to? All that type of stuff. It's the same thing when you go into the Facebook ads platform, okay? If you go in there and you have no idea, you know, no idea your end destination, you know, you have no idea who needs to see the ad in order for your product to, like, you're not gonna get anywhere, you don't know where, you know, it's just a shambles, okay? And the amount of agency owners that are like, that feel like this is staggering, okay? So, as I say, you need to know your ideal customer so you know exactly who they are so you can show them your ads and you can, that's the only way that you're gonna be able to get, you know, amazing results like this, okay? We figured out exactly who this specific client's ideal customer was and this now produced these types of results, okay? So, as I say, you need to figure out who the ideal customer is and then you need to find out where they congregate. So given that you know exactly who the ideal customer is, you now need to understand where they congregate. And the two best methods I have found, okay, the two best methods I have found to figure out where my client's ideal customer congregates is through comments and common sense, okay? Comments and common sense. Given that there is no previous data to look at, okay? So if you've got previous data to look at, i.e. they've been running ads, they're currently spending 10, 20 grand a month on ads, or even, you know, 1 to 5,000 a month on ads. It doesn't have to be, you know, big numbers. You know, 5,000 per month on ads, they've got some data there. You can see that, you know, this ad set's converting, but this one really isn't. Then you've got data to work off of, and you can essentially just bypass this entire process and just start building out your service and building out service delivery around what's already been shown to work. Okay, so as I say, you can just bypass the initial learning process and just go straight to what works. Now, often, okay, maybe 50-50 depending on what type of clients you're working with. Sometimes though, I would say sometimes, not often, sometimes you know, there's gonna be no data there, right? And if there is data there, it's probably the fact that, like, you know, there's no results coming in, they can't get any results, so the data is not going to be that helpful. I mean, it's going to show who not to show the ad to, because you can see those ads that are being shown to those audiences and whatnot just aren't converting, so you don't want to do that, but it's not the best data to, you know, be able to produce the best results for. So we need other routes to get to that point, okay? We need other routes. And for those results that I showed you before, just for some context for yourself, that was actually a brand new ad account when we started with them. Hence, we had no data whatsoever to build off of. Okay, so we had to take different routes. And as I say, bringing it back to this is the alternative routes that you take, and this is what I use, okay? As I say, comments and common sense. So what you wanna do is scroll through your clients' posts, reviews, ads, etc., and just see what people are saying and see what type of person is commenting. Okay, so this is gonna really help you understand where they congregate on the Facebook platform and can provide ideas as to audiences that you can initially target, as I say, on Facebook. Okay, and so in addition to this, okay, we leverage common sense as well. For example, if I had a client who has an info product surrounding the entrepreneurial space, again, for example, let's say I had an info product surrounding the entrepreneurial space, then a logical interest to target, to initially target could be Ty Lopez, Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, etc. Okay, so that's just pulled from pure common sense, right? And again, that's just a completely made up example. I don't have a client who has an info product surrounding the entrepreneurial space. Again, it's just a complete example, but you know, those interests are just pulled straight from common sense. Now, a good real life example for you guys is, you know, this client here, okay, they are actually in the supplement niche. Okay, and as I said, I didn't have any data to build off of when I started, so I had to take the alternative route. Again, the alternative route I took to find where they congregate is comments and common sense. But I leveraged more comments in this scenario. Okay, so what I did is I went to their Instagram, okay, because they had a pretty good Instagram foundation. You know, they had quite a few followers, but they were actually engaged followers. And so I went on there and I read through every single comment, okay, on a bunch of posts that I just picked out at random. And there was one common theme, okay? One common theme that I seen across all, let me go back to this point here. So across all comments, there was one common theme that I could see, and it had to do with the type of person who was commenting. And I seen that it was always, you know, women, but in the age range of around like, anywhere from like 20 to 30, okay? Anywhere from around 20 to 30, they were all obsessed with the gym. So that gave me initial ideas of audiences I could target, right? And as I say, I did use common sense as well, because this helped me come up with the ideas of like targeting interests such as Gymshark, CrossFit, etc., okay? You can just get a good understanding and idea of how to go about finding where they congregate given these two methods, okay? Now, last thing on finding the ideal customer, okay? You need to understand what motivates them. You have to understand this because, you know, as I go on to say that, now that we know who our ideal customer is and where they congregate, we now need to figure out what motivates them, okay? Benefits or pain points. Now, what I mean by when I say benefits or pain points is that, obviously, for those of you in the Quantum Leap Ecom Agency program, you guys, obviously, the module in the service delivery week where I go through copy, I give you all of the different types of copy, how you can really structure it for, you know, just ultimate conversion. Obviously, as I say, I give you all of that, but two types of copy, okay, as a broad overview, two types of copy is benefits and pain point copy. Okay, so it's the approach that you take when you're building out your copy. And as I say, you want to understand what motivates them, benefits or pain points, because let's say, for example, and I'm going on a complete side tangent here, but let's just get back to this and I'm going to come back to this example. I think that's the best way to attack this. So as I say, now that we know who our ideal customer is and where they congregate, we now need to figure out what motivates them, benefits or pain points. So we can craft a message, i.e. the copy, to put in front of them that will make them convert. Okay, so when I say them, I mean the ideal customer. Now that we know where they, like who they are, where they live, now we need to come up with a piece of copy that we can put in front of them that will make them convert. Now, the way I craft the initial pieces of copy is by comments, the information I receive directly from the client, and again, common sense. So the ways that you find where they congregate and understand what motivates them they kind of coincide. So comments and common sense is always an amazing way to find these two things, and also just consistently leveraging the information that you get from the clients and about who their ideal customer is, okay? So going back to what I was saying before, the example I was saying before, as the results I showed you before were from a supplement brand, okay? Whilst I was going through the comments, okay, so whilst I was going through the comments, looking at, comments, reviews, previous ads, obviously in this case, there's no previous ads ran, but you get what I mean. I not only seen a reoccurring theme in terms of who the ideal customer was, like what type of person they were, i.e. 20 to 30 year olds, etc., or women, etc. But I also seen the common, I also noticed a common theme in what they were actually saying. Okay, so I seen that almost every single comment had to do with how good the flavor of their supplements tasted. Okay, almost every single one. And so what I did straight off the bat was I created benefit copy based around the benefits of the product, i.e. how good it tasted, because I knew, again, this is leveraging, and it's very, very good for you to see this, okay? So this is me leveraging all types of the points that I've mentioned here. So I know from common sense, okay, that for the most part, supplements aren't the best in tasting, okay? You know, protein, pre-workout, all that type of stuff, for the most part, you know, you see people drinking it like, ugh, it's so rank, okay? So I know that from common sense. So I knew that if I could leverage how good it tasted based off what I seen in the comments in a piece of benefit copy, I knew it would convert. Lo and behold, I went ahead, did that exact thing, and it converted like crazy. That's because I leveraged common sense, reading through comments on what the direct customers were saying, because that allowed me to just bypass the client, bypass any theory, and just go directly to the customer and seeing what they were saying, and it was how good it tasted. Okay, and as I said, put it all together and the results were absolutely amazing, okay? Now, moving on, split test your way to success. This is so important. This is something else that massively helps us just generate these amazing, amazing results at such high ROAS as well, because what split testing does is it allows you to see exactly what's working, exactly what isn't. It allows you to scale what is working with confidence, okay? And it allows you to cut what isn't working with confidence as well. Okay, and again, for those of you in the Quantum Agency program, you guys have obviously got my, like, this is a broad, like, this is like an overview, right? It's a bird's eye level view of the entire process. Those of you in the Quantum Agency program, you guys obviously get the step-by-step points. I lay everything out on the table for you. And so if you're in the program, just go ahead, watch the service delivery week, and there's no way that you won't be able to deliver amazing results for your clients, okay, from that service delivery week. But back to the slides, okay? Split test your way to success. Now, equipped with this knowledge, okay? So equipped with the knowledge. Now that you know exactly who your ideal customer is, where they congregate, and what motivates them, what do we do with this knowledge, right? It's all well and good knowing who they are, where they congregate, what motivates them. What do you now want to do with this knowledge? Well, we now need to plug in all the information into Facebook and start our initial phase of split testing. So guys, I cannot tell you how many times this has happened to me, okay? So there's been numerous times where I truly thought that, you know, X variation, so this piece of copy with this image to this audience, right? X variation was gonna absolutely kill it, but it flopped. Okay, then on the flip side, I thought that Y variation, so, you know, this different piece of copy with this different image to this different audience, right? Y variation wouldn't do well, but we tested it anyway and it converted like crazy, okay? So I personally have come to learn that you just need to test and see what works and what doesn't based on the numbers. Okay guys, so this is so important. Like, when I was very first starting out, I always thought like, oh, you know, I thought that I knew what was gonna work. And, you know, this helps because obviously it helps to know what works and what doesn't, but you can't apply the same thing for this client as you can for this client, because what works for this client may work for this client or it may not. For the most part, it probably won't, at least from my experience. And so what you need to do is test, okay? You need to just test everything and anything you can think of. Test it with a small budget, okay? So you're being safe, you're not putting $100 on a random variation that may or may not work. You don't wanna do that. You wanna just test with a small budget and just see what works at a low budget. And then from there you can start to scale based on what you know exactly what you know works, and you can cut what isn't working. So then you're only ever spending a high amount of money, as I say, based on what you 100% know works. Whether it works at a scale budget or not is a different question, it's a story for another day. But at least you know that you can be 100% confident in that you're spending money on exactly what works. And the way that you do that, as I say, is to split test your way to success. Now, on the other side, you need also, in amongst this entire kind of process, you also need to remove all emotion. Again, I cannot stress how important this is, okay? So this is something that you can implement right now and save yourself and your clients a ton of money, right? In this video, okay, if there's one thing that you take away, one thing, forget everything else, there's one thing that you take away, I want you to take away the idea of removing all emotion. Because as I say, this is something that you can implement right now and save yourself and your clients a ton of time, a ton of money, okay? Leave everything else and just take this idea away and start implementing this. Okay, let's get back into it. I'll explain it a bit more. So if you can see that a campaign, ad set or ad just isn't converting as well as your other campaigns, etc., you know, as well as your other campaigns and your other ad sets and ads and all that type of stuff, if it just isn't converting as well, then you need to remove all emotion and be ruthless, bottom line. Meaning, if you truly believe that something will work, okay, or you spent hours crafting a piece of copy that just flopped, you have to turn it off and try a new variation / angle. Now, the way in which you do that, or the way in which you can consistently do this is by removing all emotion. So as I say, guys, if you know, I don't care how long it took you, how much time and energy you've invested into creating a new campaign, a new ad set, a new ad, or whatever it is, if it just doesn't work, you have to be ruthless and you have to cut it off and try again with a different variation, a different angle or whatever, okay? If, you know, I'm gonna get into it here in a minute, kind of how I, you know, build out my entire split testing sequence almost step by step. But if you've got something, it's been running for, you know, 3, 4, 5 days and it just isn't converting, then you have to cut it off. You cannot expect that ad to then go on to perform better if you leave it another 3 days or another 5 days or another 10 days, because it won't. If it is spent an adequate amount, it's spent a good amount and it hasn't converted, then you have to cut it off, because as I say, I know I'm kind of repeating myself, but you have to just cut it off, be ruthless, remove all emotion and just turn it off, because it's not gonna then convert if you leave it another 2 days or whatever. And the worst thing you can do is scale it or add more budget to it thinking that it's gonna perform better at a higher budget. That's the worst thing. All it's gonna do, as I say, it's gonna just lose yourself and your client money. That's all it's gonna do at the end of the day. So you have to be ruthless bottom end by removing all emotion. Now, as I say, my split testing process. So in a nutshell, we go through the entire process of truly understanding who the respective client's ideal audience is, okay? And then from there, we go into Facebook. So straight off the bat, we go through this entire process here. The ideal customer, as I said, we go through this entire process, truly understand who they are, where they congregate, and what motivates them, okay? So once we've done that, what we always do is simply create as many variations as possible based on our ideal customer and ensuring we stay inside of our client's monthly ad spend, okay? So we always try and think, however many variations we can think of, we try and run, as long as we're staying inside our client's monthly ad spend. You know, I get the question all the time of people asking how many ads should I test or how many variations should I test? And for me, it's not a number. It's not like you should be testing 10 or you should be testing 20. It's just as many as you can test, okay? As many as you can think of. So from here, we let all initial ads run for 3 to 5 days, okay? And again, depending on daily ad spend, because obviously if you have a daily ad spend of like $100, then you just don't need to let it run as long as you do for an ad that's spending, say, $10, right? An ad that's spending $100, you genuinely don't need to let it run as long as an ad that spends $10, because you can get data a lot quicker. Essentially, in this case, you're getting data 10 times quicker. Okay, so you just don't need to let it run. You just don't need to let it run as long. Okay. So as I say, from here we let all initial ads run for 3 to 5 days so that they can spend an adequate amount, and Facebook has time to optimize and figure out what works and what doesn't. After the initial 3 to 5 days, we will clearly be able to see exactly what variations and angles convert and what don't. And it's at this point we start being ruthless bottom end. So after the initial 3 to 5 days, we will easily be able to see what's working and what isn't. And in terms of what isn't, this is where being ruthless bottom end and removing all emotion comes into play. Because what clearly isn't working, you have to cut, you have to, you know, either just cut it and forget about it, or cut it, see what really isn't working by going into the, you know, the breakdown and really seeing. And again, you know, I break down that in the Quantum Agency program. So if you're in there, just go and watch the Service Delivery Week. You'll get all the answers. So as I say, this is where being ruthless bottom end really comes into play, by just cutting everything that clearly isn't working, or cut it and make a new variation based on what you can see is somewhat working. Now, the steps after steps after the initial 3-day period, that should say. So as I say, steps after the initial 3-day period. Once we have been ruthless bottom end by cutting everything that isn't converting, we will then be left with a handful of campaigns and ad sets that are performing well, right? If we've got 10 ad sets, we can just clearly see that 4 of them aren't working. So we need to be ruthless with those 4 by cutting them. We're gonna be left with a handful in this case, and in this example, we'll be left with 6 campaigns or ad sets, whatever you wanna, whatever you're measuring by, we'll be left with 6 that are working well. So what I always do from here is start to scale the, and I call them, in the program, we call them the, quote unquote winning campaigns. And so I scale by increasing budget in increments, given that it continues to perform at each increment. Okay, so my scaling process somewhat follows the same structure as the testing process, okay, in terms of the 3-day rule. If I increase the budget of an ad set, I will leave it for 3 days, and if it continues to perform at that increased budget, then I will just repeat the process. But I always remember to be ruthless bottom end. Okay, so as I say, my scaling process somewhat follows the same structure and the same process as my testing, in that, if we've got, let's say for example, we've got 50 ads, right? 50 ad set. We've got like, say 10 ad sets and $50 per ad set, okay? And we can see that these 10 ad sets are working there, that are winning campaigns, are winning ad sets. And they're all spending around a $50 per day budget, right? We can see that they're converting at a $50 per day budget. What I will then do when it comes to scaling is I will then go ahead and increase that $50 to say $75 or $100. Just double it, or maybe increase it by 20%. This all depends on what your client's monthly budget is. If it's somewhat smaller, then obviously you can't just go ahead and double everything, because you'll instantly go outside of the budget, and you never want to do that. So as I say, depending on what your client's monthly ad spend is, client's monthly budget is, that's kind of going to depict how much you can increase it by. And so when I do make that increase, or when I, as I say, yeah, when I make that increase, I will then let all ads run again for another 3 to 5 days, depending on how much I'm spending. And then from there, as I said, I follow the same process as I do when I'm testing. So if I leave it for another 3 to 5 days at the scaled budget, increased budget, and it's still performing, then I do the same process. Increase it again, leave it 3 to 5 days. However, if I, scale it, leave it for 3 to 5 days, and it doesn't perform as well, or it's losing money, then that's, as I say, the same process I do. Be ruthless bottom end and remove all emotion, and just cut the ad. I don't care if it performed a month ago. If it isn't working right now at scale budget, after letting it spend an adequate amount, you need to be ruthless bottom end, remove all emotion, and cut the ad. So look, let's get back into the slides real quick. Obviously, as I say, that's kind of what they're the steps that I take after the initial 3-day period. Again, I hope it makes sense. Now, obviously in this video, I have been almost talking from like a 30,000 foot view, right? I've been just giving you kind of overall broad concepts. Now, if you go to the second link in the description of this video, you will see this link here, right? kaibax.com/free course. Now, in this free course, okay, as I say, it's an entirely free course, and it's kind of like a lot more of an in-depth approach to how I generate these types of results for clients, right? I go into a lot more deep detail and into a lot more of the granular stuff. So as I say, if you want more kind of step-by-step processes and things that I actually do, things that myself and my team at Bax Consulting do when we sign on a new client, i.e. from the onboarding call all the way to generating them results, like that entire process. As I said, I cover that in this free course. It's like a 3-part free course. And so I truly do believe that's gonna help you even more if you wanna, understand more after this video. As I say, go ahead, get the free course. Honestly, the amount of messages and the amount of messages that I've basically gotten from people who have gone through it, saying how much it's helped them, saying how it's actually helped them get better results for their clients, it's ridiculous. Okay, so as I say, go ahead, get the free course. And as I say, that's basically what I wanted to cover in this video. I hope you found value in it. As always, that's the second link in the description. The first link in the description is going to take you to the Quantum Leap Ecom Agency program. Now in there, obviously, as majority of you guys know, it's just an A to Z, right? It's an entire A to Z on exactly how to start literally from zero or from wherever you're at and scale your e-commerce agency. It's no local lead gen, it's all e-com focused. So if you're in the local lead gen niche, it's probably not the best program for you. But as I say, it's all e-commerce focused. And literally, as I say, give you an A to Z on how to start and scale an e-com agency to 6 and multi-6 figures, and I give you everything that I have done to scale my own e-com agency to multiple 6 figures. So as I say, go ahead, join the program, or as I say, get a taste of the Quantum Leap Ecom Agency program by getting the free course, which is the second link in the description. And guys, I hope you found value in this video alone. Forget the program, forget the free course. I just genuinely hope this video alone brought you value. And I hope it gave you some practical tips that, as I say, you can literally go ahead and implement for your clients. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.